Well,
Okay, I got your recording on. Ready when you are.
all righty, I'm ready when y'all are. Good morning, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Will you pull that down just a hair? Okay, that's all right. Is that better? All righty, so happy Valentine's Day to all of you. And, since it is Valentine's Day, I thought we would talk about love. And, there's the ultimate, the love of God, the love of ourselves, and the love of others. If we don't learn to love ourselves, we can't give what we don't have. We can't love others. And a lot of times we try to get our love from other people. And then we wind up disappointed. So, it's when love is when the ugly parts of you see the worst in me, and we keep standing with each other. None of us are perfect. We are not, and we are going to make mistakes. So, the Bible tells us in 13th chapter of Corinthians, it really explains what love is. It explains what love is. That love is, and I'll tell you, in reading this, and it is one of my favorite parts of the favorite scriptures, is that none of us, or I will only say, I fall way short of this. But let's look at what love really is. Love is patience, love is kind, love is not, it does not show envy. It is not boastful, it's not proud, it's not rude, it's not self-seeking. Love is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongdoings. Love does not delight in evil, but respects but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. That is a big list and the hard things to do. I think, none of us can achieve that, but that is what true love is. So I always go back to what, because I am such a 12-stepper, I always go back to what the literature tells us. What the literature tells us in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. What it says is love and tolerance is our creed. That is our code. That is what the 12 steps is based on, is love and tolerance is our code. And love is limitless, while tolerance requires boundaries. Can you get that? Love is limitless. We can just love, love, love. But with tolerance comes boundaries. And, unconditional love, and that's pretty pure. I guess the purest love that there is, most unconditional love, is between a parent and a child, particularly before they get to be teenagers. But when, between a parent and a child, I think that is probably the most pure love that there is on earth. And, but tolerance, we do have to have some tolerance with other people. And what tolerance brings is boundaries. We must set boundaries. Because we shouldn't or should not, I don't like the shouldn't, enable harmful behavior. In Alcoholics Anonymous, they are very, we are, they are, we're very receiving, AA is about open arms. Everyone is welcome. But I will tell you, they do not accept unacceptable behavior. If a person gets in there and starts acting up and disrupts everyone, they'll ask you to leave. And particularly if someone comes in drinking, they'll show all kinds of love and tolerance. But after a while, enough is enough, and they will set boundaries. So that's what tolerance brings. It's one thing to love unconditionally, but love and tolerance is there together. And so healthy boundaries. I don't care how much you love someone, how much you adore someone. If you don't have healthy boundaries with them, it's hard to continue to show love. So there's some things that we can do in order to take care of ourselves and still love other people. We really, this is the day of love. And really, when you think of Valentine's Day, it's more about coupleships or, but it does kind of cover a wide range of love. You can go to those card stores, or they don't have card stores anymore, but the counters where the Valentines are, and there's a Valentine specific for anyone in your life. I mean, that is big business. Valentine's is right up there close to Christmas as far as gift giving, and this is the biggest year for florists, and so it is about giving, giving, giving. And you guys out there, any of you guys listening, you better remember that. If you want to have a happy wife by the end of the day, don't forget Valentine's. And it does, for most women, it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take 24 roses, one rose. A little card, or, go out for a hamburger. If you can't afford a dinner, go out for some. But anyway, it's about remembering. It's just about remembering and thinking of each other. So one of the ways that you can learn to build tolerance and show healthier love, build tolerance for yourself and for others, and to really show healthy love, like I said, to yourself and to others, is number one, take ownership of your feelings. Now, we're going to have feelings, people, and they're not all going to be rosy. I'll tell you, there's going to be some women, it's going to be disappointed. And come in the morning or tonight, they're going to have some big feelings if their guy didn't remember them. There's something, I think that's a lot to put on guys, but it's kind of put on guys anyway, And of course, the women will usually do something, and then if the husband doesn't, it makes them look even twice as bad. So I keep saying you guys need to do something. And if a man is not taught in childhood to be a giver of gifts, if it's not married to him by his parents, or, they grow up not knowing that. My husband, I was his third wife, and he'd been married to the first two 7 years each. And then when we were married 7 years, he said, I got awful nervous, which that was a joke. We were married 51 years. But he did not know how important it was to give gifts to his wife. So I don't know if that had anything to do with the other two leaving him. I think it had more to do with this drinking, but he didn't know how to be a gift giver. He didn't. And of course, here I was with lots of expectations. And, I can still remember the hurt, the hurt on special occasions that he wouldn't remember. He would forget. And so as I got healthier in Al-Anon and realized the man had never been taught, he didn't know, and so would teach people how to treat us. So I started teaching him how to be a gift giver. And I will tell you, he loved it. Once he kind of got the essence of how important it was to me, I mean, by the time he got into Alzheimer's, and then even while he was sick, he still remembered gift giving. And then it went to big gifts. I didn't need or want any big gifts. It was just that remembrance, And I will tell you, we were married 51 years and we had 20 wonderful years. And that it doesn't mean that we didn't have some good years our good days, not a lot of good years, but good days. And so, if he was here, he would probably tell you that, everything wasn't always roses with me either. But we hung in there together and we learned from each other and we taught each other how to love each other. And so I miss him every day, but I really miss him on special occasions because he would come in with, he got into buying me jewelry. And so today he would come in with flowers or he knew not to bring me candy. He finally learned that. But he would, buy me. Anyway, it doesn't matter what he bought. He remembered is what I want to say. And I've got some beautiful flowers sitting here from my dear friend Misty. She remembered and fixed me the prettiest bouquet. And so I'm going to tell you 4 tips for building tolerance for others and showing love. So number 1 is take ownership of your feelings. Recognize that no one can make you feel a certain way without your permission. I would always say that I'll hurt my feelings. That's a pretty powerful stance to give to someone. You hurt my feelings, and it's more energizing to say, I feel some anger when you don't do this and this or something else. But anyway, the second thing is, number 2 is develop curiosity. In many cases, when we lack tolerance towards others, it's simply because we don't understand them. Have some curiosity about your partner, what their wants and needs are, curiosity about your children, what they might want or need. We usually give what we want to receive, and a lot of times the other person's disappointed. But have curiosity about the other person to see, what angers them, what when we have lack of tolerance toward them, a lot of times it's simply because we don't understand them. When we have lack of tolerance, it's simply because we don't understand the other person. So really develop enough curiosity that you get to know your loved one, your beloved, even if you've been married for years or years, or even your children, get to know them a little better and get to know if you push that button, that's the reaction you're going to get. If you push that, that's the reaction. And also with yourself, if you have certain buttons that if people push them, you're going to react, learn to keep those buttons covered up. Or, protect your own buttons where, people can't push them and you react. That's what good boundary setting is set boundaries around your loved ones. Because like I said, they know your vulnerable places, and they'll say things that can be more hurtful than if anyone else in the world said it, it wouldn't hurt them like someone that they love. If someone that they love says it. So, develop curiosity. And one of the things is push when something comes up, don't let them push your buttons, and push the pause button and take a step back. And when in doubt, don't. Jesus Christ, when people, he would deal with people and deal with people and deal with people. And if they didn't want anything to do with him, after a while, what he would do is he would turn his positive side to their negative side. He would shake the dust off of his sandals and he'd walk away. And when you're dealing with intolerable people that you can't, make sense with right at that moment, walk away, and push that pause button. And when in doubt, don't. When in doubt, don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. So take a step back, and notice when something comes up. If you can set a boundary long enough and notice how that person is reacting, and just let them react all they want to. And then you take a step back and go on your way. Another thing is change your perception. We can't always see things through another person's eyes. But if we could stop, because we're always so busy seeing our part, well, if they could only see my part, if they could see through my eyes, if they could stop a minute and kind of see through the other person's eyes. And that's really through Al-Anon, is what Al-Anon taught me, to quit putting my husband and all of his behavior under a microscope and start putting that I can't remember. I can't. What is that little
Magic magnifying glass?
Yes, thank you. Put that magnifying glass on me. Thanks, Bradley. Wasn't that Bradley? Put that magnifying glass.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here to help. I'm so glad to help.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've needed that. I've needed that. Take that magnifying glass and put it up against yourself instead of looking for other people's faults, and people are people are people, and they're going to say things, they're going to do things that we don't like. And the best thing to do is to not react. We become reacting machines. Someone does something and we react to it. And then they react, and then they react, and then pretty soon you got a full-blown blow up. And so try to see the situation through the other person's eyes. Now, I want to tell you, that takes grown-ups to do that. That takes grown-up people to do that, to pause, take a step back, and see things through another person's eyes. We never know what's going through their minds. We do not. We do not. And then after you change your perception, and kind of see things a little different, number 4 is practice respect. Respect yourself enough to not get engaged in, a family feud or whatever, a feud with your spouse. Respect yourself. And one thing in respecting yourself is not tolerating an intolerable situation. That's where tolerance comes in and healthy boundaries comes in. Know what to tolerate and what not to tolerate. And don't just take abuse. And sometimes the best thing to do is just walk away, get away, put a break, but practice respect for the other person, respect that other person. One of the things that helped me with my husband is starting to see him through the eyes of what he did on a daily basis. What he did. I'll tell you what that man did. He was one of the smartest men I have ever known. Our children, when they got to college, they would send their papers back. That was way before internet, and they couldn't send them, through the computer and all. They would mail them to him. Or they'd bring him home and but he would proofread every term paper. He had an 8th grade education, but he was brilliant. He read, he knew numbers. And, when he put in his own business, he didn't have the self-esteem. He had put in businesses for lots of companies and would build them up. And finally, I talked him into going into business for himself, and he liked the esteem that he needed, but he did it with my hand pushing it. He had my handprint on his back. But one of the things through Al-Anon that we're all different people, and my husband was very different from me. He was not affectionate, didn't require a lot of affection, and I was touchy-feely and wanted, affection that didn't always lead to sex. And so one of the things I had to start doing is respecting what that man did for us. And I'm saying us, his family. We were in the oil business, we were. And it was a roller coaster. Sometimes, we had money and he was free with it. He was very generous. He was generous to our children, his employees, everyone. And then there'd be a drop in the oil business and we wouldn't have a lot of money. And he went through that. And our kids, I don't believe they ever had an inkling of what we were going through when there was an oil bust. And my husband absolutely took care of us. I don't care, regardless of money or no money. He worked. That's what he brought to the family. He worked and he financially supported us. I never worked outside the home. He didn't want me to until I decided it was time to go back to school, and I, became a counselor and all of that. But I had a high regard for my husband and his ability to make us a living, and I had a lot of respect for him. And our children respected him, had high respect for him. If your children don't respect you as parents, there's something you're missing. And now when they're 13 or 14, 15, until they get past that, they don't respect anyone most of the time. So just know that that's the stage they're in. But teach your children respect and practice respect in your home for your children and for your spouse. And remember, number 5, that tolerance, and I'll keep going back to tolerance. We can love someone till hell freezes over, and we can tell them how much we love them. But tolerance is really showing them how much we love. We tolerate their their bad behavior to a point, and then after a while, you turn around. You don't tolerate it. You don't tolerate intolerable behavior. That's when you learn to love yourself enough, and not tolerate it, to turn around, get out of the scene, get away from them for a while, take a break. So learn to know that we are simply free to take care of ourselves, and to decide what is good for us, what we want. And we are free to act. We're free to act in our own behalf, but not to react. When we react and keep reacting, that's when the chaos, we invite them to react and we react, blah. And so it's about taking action, action on your own behalf. Do what you need to do to take care of you. Because if you don't love yourself enough to take care of yourself, no one else is going to love you and respect you. So tolerance is a power that works deeply underground. It's like it's a stream that runs through us, that tolerance. And it is one of the greatest tools in our daily life, is to have tolerance. We can find things every day of the week. Employees can upset us, our employers can, our spouses, our children, the traffic. There's people out there out to get us, and so the tolerance is about tolerating intolerant people, but then you don't have to keep taking it. It's about turning away, like Christ did. Turn your positive side to their negative side and walk away. Okay, what else did I write down here? While respect means having a high regard for someone, it also means respecting yourself enough to take care of yourself and to get yourself around. If you surround yourself by unlovable people who, don't respect you, that's on you. That's not them. If you continue to circle yourself around people that are intolerant with you and that don't respect you, that's about you. It has really not that much to do with them. There's something inside of you that says that I need to be beat up, beat me up, call me bad names, so that's the work that you need to do about learning to love yourself and how to set better boundaries. So, like I said, I'm going back to this. Love and tolerance starts with you. It's the love of God that is the number one, and then loving ourselves. Because if you don't love yourself, you don't have anything to give to anyone else. You're going in there to get something. If you don't have love for yourself, you're going into relationships to get something, and then they're going to disappoint you. I mean, we disappoint each other all the time. We're human beings, and we are going to disappoint each other. But if that's where we get our good feelings about ourselves, I mean, you're up the creek without a paddle. You have got to respect yourself, love yourself, and tolerate your own imperfections before you can other people. Remember, you can really love someone and have tolerance for them without really liking them. You don't have to like people to love them. They're going to have things that you don't like about them. But you can love people and not like them and not choose to be around them. So I was thinking about, and all of this that I'm saying comes straight out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, pretty much. I mean, I've added a few things to it. And it comes out of step 7. And, there is a prayer at the end of every step. On some of the steps, you have to look for the prayer, but there's a prayer at the end of every step. If you ever wonder what they are, let me know. I may even do a workshop on the prayers of the steps. But step 7, I love this. And it's usually said at the end of after you do the 4th and 5th step. 4th step is looking at your inventory, the good, the bad, the ugly, and it's not all the ugly, it's about the good stuff. And then step 5 is giving it to someone in the program, a sponsor, someone that understands, that won't judge you. And then what they're going to help you see through your fourth and fifth step, they're going to help you see what your character defects are, not your family. Sorry, you don't get that. You're going to get to see what your character defects are and what you need to get to work, what you need to work on. And if that's lack of tolerance, or if that's, whatever, they are going to help you, your sponsor will help you see what your character defects are. And that's all step 6 is. And step 6 is a biggie, because if you can't do step 6 and see what your own character defects are, you're not going to be able to move any farther in the program. Step 6 is an important step, because you get to say, oh my God, I am all of that and something else. You get to see those character defects. And then you just get willing to have God remove them. And then step 7, you begin to ask God to remove them. And so I love the prayer in step 7, and I'm going to close my part with this prayer at step 7. And most sponsors will have you read this after you do step 7, but it says, "My Creator, I am now willing, because that's when you have looked at your defective characters. I mean, your defective character. We don't get to inventory them. We get to inventory us. My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, the good and the bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defective character that stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding." So step 7 is we ask God to remove those character defects, and we can't do them. Now we can begin to not and be conscious of them, because we go unconscious with bad behavior. We go unconscious when we're in to our character defects. And so recovery is about staying conscious, and we're not going to all the time. Something is going to be said, it's going to trigger something in us. And if we don't walk away and get away from the situation, it will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So the steps work. I really didn't mean for this talk to be about the steps, but I never know what I'm going to talk about until the morning that I do it. And I kept thinking about love and, in the romantic sense, and it is Valentine's and all, but love needs to be all year long, every day, to love ourselves enough to tolerate our own bad behavior in that of others, but also to have tolerance to where we can set boundaries with people. And when we're not treated with the highest respect that we think that we deserve, set a boundary, walk away, take care of yourself. And the big thing is respect others, give others love, dignity, and respect. That's really what the 12 steps is all about, is how to give love, dignity, and respect to ourselves and others. And I will tell you, as human beings, we don't have that. We're just vessels. And God pours that into us. And if we want to have and show love, tolerance, and patience, we need to seek God's help with that. God, help me be more tolerant. God, help me to be more patient. God, help me to be more loving. Help me to be more tolerant. And like I said, tolerant of ourselves. We beat ourselves up way more than other people do. So that's what I have. It's going to be Valentine's Day all day today. And I'm going to go do a work of love. And I don't know how it's going to come out, but I'll keep you posted. I have a big greenhouse, and my grandson is getting married May the 3rd. And every summer I have zinnias in my yard. Well, him and his girlfriend were here last summer. She saw the zinnias. She loves zinnias. And that's what they want for their wedding. And my grandson wants me to grow them. So I've got them planted. And y'all help pray for zinnias to grow. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make a trip somewhere to get some zinnias. Now, I won't fudge. I won't tell him I grew them. But I've got so many pots of zinnias, and they're all up. They're my little babies. I'm just nursing them, and really zinnias like to be left alone. They're pretty much avoidance. You know, they're not like sunflowers. It just wants so much attention. You know, so zinnias are like, okay, I've sprouted, I'm up. Now leave me alone. Get away from me. Let me dry out and grow. So say a prayer for those zinnias. And that's a love, that is a gift of love for them. If I wind up with just enough zinnias to make my grandson a boutonniere and maybe a little nosegay for his girlfriend, that'll be good enough. But I'm hoping we can fill the church. I don't know that I'm going to have that many. But find something today that you can do loving for someone else, because love is an action word. Love is action, and love is spelled Time. You can tell people all day long, I love you, and then walk out that door and not ever spend any time with them. It takes time that you carve out of your day to spend with those that you love. And so that's kind of what I would like to leave you with on my part is time. We all have 24 hours. And what are you going to do with that 24 hours? And it does not take a lot of time to show love, but you can say it and it doesn't mean much unless you put action to it. Okay, so let's talk about love. What are y'all going to do today? Do you have a sweetheart? What you going to do for your sweetheart? Are you expecting your sweetheart to do something for you? What are you going to do in the way of kindness, maybe for a neighbor or who wants to talk first? Come on, Joseph. You've haven't been married long, and I want to put you on the spot. What are you doing for your sweetie, your wife, who's expecting your first baby?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a lot. I got the flowers in a vase with the heart on it. I already did that yesterday. I was a step ahead. And
Good.
she saw him and she goes, "Oh my God, it's Valentine's Day today." Like she's got pregnancy brain. She can't remember anything right now. So I was like, "No, I'm just a day early on the flowers." Um, and she loves kolache, so she got that for breakfast this morning. And we've
For
got
you.
date planned
Woo!
this evening and time spent together. And it's interesting that this is a topic I was doing another book study this morning, and it was kind of talking about acts of love and just time and uh you know the guy kind of leading the thing was talking about how he just he doesn't like the government telling him anything to do, so he doesn't like being told when to give gifts. But his wife obviously wants something on Valentine's Day, and so he writes her letters and heartfelt letters and stuff like that. But there's different ways to give and show love is kind of what I took away from you and your talk. And I had it just reminded me what you just said was I had a friend of mine who passed away 2 years ago on February 4th, and he passed away during surgery. And several months before that, he was riding his bicycle and he was hit by a truck early in the morning. And he, ended up dying from complications of the accident. But what he told me, the fact that he survived the accident was a miracle. But he told me the night before, he and his wife had gone to bed in an argument, and they didn't say, their good night. They went to bed in silence. And he woke up early that morning to go ride his bike, and he didn't say anything to her. He didn't wake her up or say, "I love you." And so when he woke up in the hospital and he saw her, he said, I will never go to bed without saying I love you again. And so he really got extra time. He was in recovery, but he got like 4 or 5 months of bonus time to really live love, with the people that he cared about. And so it's sad, obviously, that he ended up dying, but he kind of got like some bonus time, and really kind of I saw him change, and I saw his actions change. And so for me today, love is about that action, not just the words, but actually doing it, even in tough times, or even in arguments or stress or whatever it is that I make that effort, to kind of center myself the same way I try to do with my program, is that no matter what, I still need to, one, remain sober. I still need to apply the steps in my life. I still need to have that relationship with a higher power, regardless of what's going on around me or what kind of issues I've created for myself. And just being, we're talking about, like, there's that romantic love, and then just love in general, which I believe to be very healing, and what I want to receive and put out in the world. And while you were talking, a couple of people that I find not intolerable, but I do not like their behavior in the professional world right now, are blowing up my phone and causing all sorts of drama. And I just get the opportunity to respond in kindness, or with boundaries, or say, hey, this isn't going to work for me. And I did it kindly, and didn't have to say, I'm not here to babysit or anything like that, but I just don't want to get involved in this kind of stuff. And I have that ability today to, because the way I treat myself is to kind of not dictate, but I get to set boundaries on how people interact and enter into my life. And that's, for me, that's a very loving action, because I have not always had that ability, in my life, to be able to do that, as any good Al-Anon can attest to. So I appreciate the topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. And to your wife, I said hello. She's very fortunate, a very lucky lady. All righty, who's next? Deb, what do you have for us? Deb, are you there?
Yeah, sorry. Technology is still hard. I thought the topic was really, really good today, and I appreciated it. And I actually felt kind of good about myself as you were going through it, because 5 years ago, this would have all been very different for me. But I've got good 5 years in Al-Anon, 3 of them really good, kind of like your marriage. The first 2 was kind of a meeting that wasn't as right. But nonetheless, I feel really, really good. And I've always felt safe and supported and needed, but I'm not sure that I ever felt really loved. And then I realized it was because I was just getting in my own way. I decided I wasn't being loved if people didn't love me the way I loved them. Well, then when you go through and you do your inventory and you find out the way you've been loving people is really messed up, and you have to change all of that, then you kind of get grateful that people haven't been loving you the way that you thought they should. So I have really, really, really softened my stance on that. I've changed my expectations completely. I do feel that I'm loved very much now. And I think the people in my life that are important to me love me to the best of their ability for where they are at any given time. And that feels really, really good. So I just try to love as purely and with as little codependency as possible, and have just dramatically changed my expectations. And I feel really good about where I am and where the people around me are. And it's great. So I am a huge supporter of Al-Anon, because although I was happy and, as I had said, felt supported and safe and all those things, it feels very, very different to know that you really do love yourself, and that whatever love you receive from the people around you is their best, and that's a pure sign of love. So I feel really good about this topic, and I felt good as I take copious notes. I could write 4 Tennie Talk books, because I have literally 4 of these over the years. And everything rang really, really true. The tolerance part's a little harder at times, but I do know how to walk the wagon. I had to do it with David this morning. He did, and I just like, I'm not engaging over this. So I just went another direction and it was fine. So it's good.
Thanks, Dad. I'm so glad I called on you. Thank you. Yeah, Al-Anon does teach us how to love in a different way. It does. And, you know, the way that I loved before Al-Anon was I was a human doer. I did everything for everybody else, but I didn't do it for free and for fun. I did it with a string attached, because then they would love me. They would love me. They would love me. And so everybody in my family didn't like Al-Anon real well at first, because I learned to stop doing so much for them. And anyway, it's all a process. But thanks, Dad. You're a good spokesperson for Al-Anon. And thanks for sharing this morning. Laura, do you have anything? There you go. Hello, Laura.
She's at work. She's
Oh, okay. All righty. She's at work and can't talk. All right, we'll catch up later. All right, Jeff, what do you know about love and tolerance?
Oh God, after 3 marriages, absolutely nothing, obviously. No, I'm glad you brought all this up, Tenny. Two of the points that were really important to me were first, what I consider love to be and my spouse considers love to be may not be at all the same thing. I think I could fill our living room with roses and Tony'd come in and say, "What in God's name is all this doing in here?" But she has other things that are important to her, and she would hear me right now if I said what they were, but she's going to get one of those tonight. So I can't say, but that's important to her. And so that's what I want to give her. Candy might be a big deal to me, not to her. So I have to think about the other person and not just me. Other thing you brought up was I beat up on me so badly. If somebody else tried to beat up on me when I was wrong, oh man, I would not tolerate it. But love and tolerance extends to ourself. I greatly appreciated you saying that, because this is progress, not perfection. And I have to remember that about me when I'm in the wrong, that I'm not always right. So I need to be gentle with myself too. Thank you, Tenny. Excellent, excellent talk, and happy Valentine's Day to you.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you. And that's exactly right. We usually give what we want to receive, or we give what they think that, and so that's good, is to know really what makes your loved one feel loved. It can be something entirely different. And I love that book, the 5 languages of the 5 love language. There's 5 different love languages that people, feel loved by, and it's really nice if partners could read that book together, because sometimes we give what we want to receive, and it's not what the other person needs to feel loved, and so it's just kind of goes down just a blank wall. So anyway, who else would like to speak? All righty, good, Mary.
May I say something? This
Yeah,
is my first visit here, and
well, good. We'll come back anytime.
well, I've read your food book 3 times when I need a kick in the butt, but I wanted to say a couple of things when you were talking about tolerance and behavior and all that. My grandmother used to say, "You might be right," to someone, and then she'd just let it go, because inside she could say, "But you're really full of it." But she would always just think that was the perfect answer. But mostly what I got is my husband has been in intensive care. He had a surgery go wrong, and I have been trudging up and back to the hospital for 3 weeks, and I'm just feeling incredibly sorry for myself until I listened to you and thought, well, why should somebody throw a parade for me? Everybody has things they're going through, and it's not that they don't care. It's just that I'm making it about poor me. And I'm not the one who almost died. I'm the one who has a good, anyway, thank you for that. It helped me learn how to not tolerate my bad behavior. So
Well, I hope things go well for you and your husband. And how did you
he
find
took
out?
a good turn last week, so I think we're out of the woods. But we had setback after setback, and this is a man who never gets sick. Hadn't been sick for 15 years. Went in for routine operation and threw up on the table, so we aspirated, and then they had troubles getting with. Anyway, lots of things went wrong, but he's
Well, I'm glad to hear that he's,
Yeah. Yeah.
and going in the right direction.
It
So
is.
how did you hear about us?
I found your food addiction book,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know if I'm addicted, but I'm highly preoccupied with it. And so I just love the way you express yourself. And I saw some of your TV shows on. I don't think they're on anymore, but you have a way of speaking and reaching everyone. It's just I can't get enough of it. So
Well,
uh
thank you. Thank
then
you.
I saw something online that you had this Zoom meeting. So I thought, well, I'm gonna pop in before I go volunteer today. So
Well, good. Well, I hope you'll come
I
back
am.
and maybe tell others about us. And I haven't talked about food addiction in a long time. Have I talked about food addiction?
It's been a little while.
Have I talked about food addiction for a while? I think I'll talk about it next week, food addiction. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. So thank you for giving me
Do
a
you,
topic.
is this every week? Do you do this
Every
every week?
week at 10 a.m. every week.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
hope to see you and give your husband my regards. Maybe y'all could watch it together. Thank you.
Maybe.
All righty, who's next? Come on, Bradley, you have anything?
I always have something.
I know.
And actually, that was Jeff that answered earlier, and that wasn't me, but I didn't mind taking credit for it. So earlier in your discussion, everybody knew that but you. So that was what made it even more funny. As you were talking, I got to thinking about, and I haven't totally thought this out. My brain works a little bit differently, but you were talking about, I still think I'm pretty good, but I loved myself a whole lot. And that was part of the problem. Loving too much and the selfishness and the self-centered. So I got to thinking about just where do we get mixed up at? Do we love who we are, or do we love what we are? Or is it I love what I am, but not who? Sometimes I love what I am, but not who I am. Or do I love who I am, but not what I am? Because with addicts and alcoholics, we love ourselves. We think we're pretty good, but it's the way we love ourselves, and that really distorts how we deal with others. And so I got to think about, so do I love who I am, but really struggle with what I am? Or do I love what I am and struggle with who I am? It's just interesting because we think we're pretty good and we think we've got love down. And that totally distorts things. And so where my chaos of my own brain, and I don't guess I've fully worked out my own salvation with fear and trembling. But it is we thought we were pretty hot stuff. And through the process of recovery, we've learned how skewed that was and how our idea of love was really just messed up. And so I kind of got to thinking about that today when you were sharing, and I ain't got that all figured out. I'll let Jeff answer all that stuff.
Thanks, Bradley. And you're exactly right that self-centeredness is the root of our problem as addicts. You know, self-centeredness. And I hear that you loved yourself. So many addicts have that self-loathing, and it will appear that they overlove themselves. But the ones that I've worked with, a lot of times when you really get in there, they hate their own guts, you know. So it is that self-loathing covered up by, you know, that false love. And so you know this, and I don't need to preach, but I will tell you, until we can accept ourselves exactly the way we are at this moment and know that we are a beloved child of God first and foremost. That's where it, you know, and I know you do I mean, I know you do, but it's, I mean, I hated myself. I couldn't even comb my own hair of a morning, hardly, because I had to see myself in the mirror. So that is so opposite of, you know, of love. And when we're putting ourselves down, we're putting down God's handiwork. So anyway, you are lovable and you're loving. So there, I've said it. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget it's Valentine's, okay? All right, who's next? Diane, do you have anything?
No, I think you were pretty good, said it pretty well. But I really learned since I was in Al-Anon how to love myself better. And by doing that, then I learned to love others better, like you said. I've been able to reconnect with my kids in a way that I never would have been able to without program, because I was so self-centered.
Yeah,
And regretfully, I am still a lot self-centered, but I'm working daily to try to overcome that
yeah.
by making meetings and reading the literature. But thank you so much for everything.
Well, you're just welcome. I hope you're feeling better physically. And so, Sherry, you have anything?
Well, I don't have quite a year at Al-Anon, but I am learning about relationships and that I still get outside of my hula hoop sometimes. So, and I am still working on that. But, and I agree with what you said. We have to learn to love ourselves. And I think that's where I've been for so many years, is not loving myself. And you can't give what you don't have. And I'm learning to, you know, I've got a very good sponsor that really is just very patient with me. And that, like I said, I'm getting there, you know. I have lost my serenity a couple of times, but I recognize it. That's what has been so important for me, is that I recognize that what I'm doing, and that is not loving others where they're at. And that's, to me, what's important. If we can love them where they're at, then we can love ourselves where we're at. Doesn't mean we can't continue growing and they can't either, but it's just, you got to start somewhere. And to me, I've got to start there.
Yeah. Thanks, Sherry. And I'll tell you, my first Al-Anon sponsor many, many years ago, I started in Al-Anon October of '68, and my first Al-Anon sponsor is the first person that really taught me what love was. She loved me in spite of myself, and I was a hard person to love because I kept thinking she wanted something from me, because you know, I had always been the giver, the giver, the giver, and hoping I'd get something back. And she just loved me unconditionally. She loved me. And I asked her one day, she'd just show up at my house and knock on my door. And, you know, and I said, well, why are you doing this? And she said, I don't know. The only reason I'm doing this is God put the love of you in my heart, and I just have to give it to you, whether you take it or not. My job is to give it. And it was hard. I was a tough one, a tough nut to crack, because I kept thinking she wanted something from me, and she didn't. But she taught me what love was. And that was the beginning. And then she helped me to start finding things about myself that maybe I could love, or at least start tolerating. So thanks, Sherry. It's good to see you. All righty, Miss Cecile, you have anything?
Hey, it's always good to see you guys. Thanks, Tennie. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, everyone. So it's so interesting. It was awesome. So Tennie, one of many takeaways. But one of them was, like you said, go out and do something kind or loving for someone else. And my mind continued, as the big book says, or as other Al-Anon, I'm in Al-Anon, I'm in an AA, as my sponsor says, with the not taking credit, not going, I did something nice for you. I did something nice for you. I have an aunt who's amazing. She's 89, and we were all going to drive down. My cousin and I were driving down to Kanab, which is in southern Utah in the Red Rock country. It's gorgeous. And she's worried about, she doesn't feel well and she doesn't want to get the flu, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I appreciate it, Tennie, because you're like, you know what, Cecile, you should go out and get her some bread or some treats and then take it to the house and not say, I don't need to visit, just so you know I love you. And that's really great. And the other thing is, just about being love and tolerance. I serve on a board. I may have shared this for an organization. I'll hurry. It's after 10. That helps children and families in crisis. And we had a big kerfuffle last week, and I was livid. I mean, like losing my mind, nuts. But because of the programming, going to the Tennie Talks and talking to my sponsor, Al-Anon particularly, I had some restraint of pen and tongue. And it works. Oh, also happy Valentine's Day and happy Ash Wednesday for anyone who's going to go do that today.
That's
So
right. That is right. All righty, good to hear from you. Barbara, do you have anything? I know you've been around in the program a long time.
Yes, kind of on the fringes, but I have some amazing news. Laura has been in treatment for 16 days in New Orleans. We
Good.
finally got a place that would take the insurance. And she was, once again, this is the second time she's been there. She was let go too early, but we found a place here in Dallas, and she's undergoing partial hospitalization, which I don't think she's ever done that before. In the 30 years she's had this eating disorder, and she's been to your organization once, but it's been so hard to.
So how are you? How are you?
Well, I'm flying on cloud 9 right now.
Okay, so are you do you go to Al-Anon?
I haven't found a place yet, but I'm using this organization to keep myself a little bit grounded. And I think there's going to be a chance for family therapy here in Dallas as part of partial hospitalization. But I want to tell you, when she got out of that 2.5 weeks, we were very angry that she had to go home again. But as soon as she got home, she is with the program. I mean, she's stopped eating 5 pizzas a night and all the Cokes and drinks she's eating, and she's changed her schedule to a day schedule immediately. It's like a miracle. So I'm asking for you all to pray that she's going to be able to sustain this, because it's really hard for her. And
So Barbara, now that she's getting better, what I would support you in doing is coming in doing an intensive with us. We have one in February, and if you want to really and truly help your daughter, come do that intensive with us. And I want you to sit with it and think about it. And call and talk to Cam about it, to come do an intensive this month. And that could be the best gift you could give your daughter. All right.
I'll talk to Cam. We are on email together. So Cam, I thank you for bearing with me on this.
Oh,
And
no.
I'm going to change too drastically.
Okay, but you can't, you know, you need to have help just like your daughter does. And what I would say is come join us for this month's intensive. So give Cam a call and sign up, and that would be the best gift you could give your daughter, and that would give her some time. So, but the main thing would be it will help you. So it's good to hear from all of you. So for next week, let's talk about food addiction. Food addiction is a little different than, anyway, it's still not declared an eating disorder, but the National Council on Alcoholism are working toward including that as an addiction, food addiction, and the National Alcohol and Drug Association International. So think about that. They must be doing some kind of good research if they think food addiction qualifies to be under their umbrella. So it's not yet, but they're talking about it. So y'all have a great rest of the day and learn to really practice loving yourselves today and then give it away. All righty. See y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy Valentine's.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you, Tennie.
Love y'all.